Hey, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Cash Sports, and we're going to get into another topic today in regards to the NBA. But before we get into that, please drop a like and subscribe to our page because we would graciously appreciate that, and it will help us give you guys more content. So, what we want to talk about today, we want to talk about this Game 7 between the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. And this was the end of the Phoenix Suns season, and I may say it was a very disappointing ending for the Suns. I mean, they were the number one seed in the West. There was a lot of expectations in regards to where the Suns and how far they would go heading into the playoffs, because the same expectation in the postseason wasn't the same expectation leading into the season, because they weren't favored to win the title. People thought that was Chris Paul's best chance. And now it seems more likely because this season they even get to the Western Conference Finals. So Artem, dig into this a little bit. Tell me what you think.
Well, that must have been one of the worst games I've seen in my life. It's really disappointing to see such an amazing team. You've got CP3, Devin Booker, Aiton, overall a solid team with an amazing coach of Monty Williams, and to be blown out just like this. Devin Booker and CP3 both made 3 points combined in the second half, and that's a truly disappointing numbers for an All-Stars like that. Didn't people say that Devin Booker is the next Kobe? Pretty sure I heard people say something like that.
Nobody said that, bro. Even up to the point where what he was doing in the playoffs, nobody was saying nobody's gonna be another Kobe. There's never gonna be another Kobe.
That's true.
Fly. I mean, Devin Booker's a great player. He's a fantastic player in my opinion, and he deserved to be in the MVP conversations. But this was a huge wake-up call, and I think the Suns need to start looking into their future as it pertains to at the point guard, because Chris Paul is at the helm of this team, and without him, I just don't see them as being as competitive without Chris Paul. And so, in regards to this game, though, this was horrible for the Suns. And we're going to talk about the Mavs because obviously they were the underdogs. They won the series. But when it came to the Suns, by halftime, they had only scored 27 points in that game by halftime. And then when it reached the third quarter, Cam Johnson was the leading scorer for the Suns with 7 points. That was horrible.
Well,
from the first quarter, they had no chance of winning that game.
Yeah, in the first half, Luka Doncic had more points than the entire team combined.
Look, I saw something on StatMuse where they said Luka had more points than Devin Booker, more rebounds than DeAndre Ayton, more assists than Chris Paul.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Luka he's making a name for himself in these playoffs.
He really does. That's a true young talent.
And not to say that, because honestly, Luka was already in that realm of superstar, in my opinion, because just based off how he was playing at such a young age and the impact that he has on his team, it says a lot about how good of a player he is. Mm-hmm. But he went against the Clippers for his first 2 playoff appearances, and first one wasn't as competitive as the second time around. Mm-hmm. But we all know what happened last year when he went to Game 7. But even then, Luka was dropping 30, 40 against the Clippers. This two-way defense, or this two-way player between Paul George and Kawhi, he was making them look silly in that series because Luka was doing everything he could. But the question with the Mavericks wasn't Luka. Even though Luka can be a little spotty from the three and from the free throw line, but he still gets his points. But the biggest issue with the Mavericks is the surrounding players on the Mavericks, the supporting group, the role players. And now we're starting to see these guys really blossom. And Jason Kidd is stepping up and being the coach that the Mavericks always needed. Rick Carlisle has been a great coach, and he's won a championship with the Mavs. But with Jason Kidd and Luka leading the helm, and then now you have players like Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie. I thought Spencer Dinwiddie was a dog since Brooklyn Nets, because he was on the Nets at some point in the beginning of his career, and he was good then. Yeah. So now that you have these players stepping up, that was the missing piece for Luka to get to this point. Now, leading into the next series, though, or in the Western Conference Finals, or even in the finals, I think any team in the West is going to have a lot on their hands, whatever team they face in the finals. I honestly think whoever wins the finals is either going to be the Heat or the Celtics. I don't think a team from the West wins the finals this year. But let's go back to the game, because I kind of don't want to talk more about that. I want to kind of stay on the series. But the Suns, man, DeAndre Ayton had a horrible game. I think he only made 2 shots and shot 5 attempts. He got benched in the game. And it's a huge disappointment for somebody like DeAndre Ayton, because he was the first overall pick in the same draft Luka was in. And that's a disappointment in itself. And then he's looking to get paid this year also. And he does deserve the money, because he's still a good player. I'll even say he's a great player. I think he played decent enough this postseason. But it was just this game where everything started to fall apart, or even the last couple games. Because with the combination of Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul knows how to use his centers. He knows how to get the best out of his centers. And so now you're starting to see Chris Paul show his age. I really hope this isn't the situation where we've seen Chris Paul age right before our eyes. But that's that.
It doesn't look too good for CP3's future. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it doesn't look too good, but even if Chris Paul were to hang it up and be like, you know what, I don't think I'm ever going to win a chip, I don't think that takes away anything from his career and what he's accomplished so far, because Chris Paul is still a really great player and one of the best point guards to ever play the game. And when I mean point guard, I'm not speaking from the overall general aspect of whoever played point and I'm ranking those guys with each other. I'm going to how the fundamental of the game is played. What is the point guard supposed to do? And Chris Paul fulfills that role perfectly. And that's why any team that he goes to has winning seasons, is able to compete in the playoffs. But it just so happens that whenever he has 2-0 leads, it just doesn't fall for him. It doesn't head in his direction. You know, the coin doesn't flip doesn't flip for him. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a disappointing season for Chris Paul. And I think it's always a disappointing season when you're regarded as the number 1 team in the West, mm-hmm. and then you just fall short, especially like this, because that game wasn't even worth watching. By halftime, it wasn't worth watching. It was over by that point. I'm keeping it a buck with you. That game was over by halftime. Mm-hmm. I was watching. It was like the Suns weren't really even sticking defense. There came a point in time where when a player on the Suns was shooting a 3 and nobody was there to grab the rebound, it was just all of the Mavs You know what I'm saying, on the Suns side of the court. So it was an embarrassing loss, you know, but I'm not going to hold it to those guys too much because at the end of the day, Devin Booker is still a young guy. And for me personally, I mean, I never really looked at him more than what he is, but I still think that now he's definitely emerged as one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. I think that can't be taken away from him still. DeAndre Ayton, for sure, needs to kind of level up a little bit. But in regards to Chris Paul and the Suns, it's going to be very complicated for them to move forward. Because now they have to start thinking about the future a little bit. You can't put all your eggs in one basket in a 37-year-old player and eventually will turn 38 when playoff time comes. So, that being said. But I also have a really good proposition, and I think this is going crazy. I think Damian Lillard should go to the Suns and play with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton.
So you suggest a trade CP3 for Dame?
I mean, if I'm a GM, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. I mean, hell yeah, I would do that. Why wouldn't you trade Chris Paul at this staging point for Damian Lillard? Yes, I would do that.
We gotta throw in some picks too because Dame's definitely.
But it's worth it though. I mean, when you're contending for the title, who cares about picks? You know what I mean? Like teams are willing to give up picks if they know they're getting something great in return. You know, like when it comes down to trades, I view it as the team who has the best player wins the trade. You know what I mean? Because you know what you're getting. You know the value in what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think Dame to the Suns, I think that's a lethal move. I think that's something, and I don't think Damian Lillard would take a lot of heat for it because the Suns are still somewhat of a small market team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're playing with somebody like Devin Booker, you know, which I would say, in my opinion, he's better than C.J. McCollum. You know what I mean? And then if DeAndre Ayton can get his deal straight with the management, I think that's a really good team. I think they can compete with anybody in the West, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that would be the move. So, but that's it for the series, and that's it for the Suns season because definitely bombed that one. But I'm definitely excited to see how the Mavs play against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, and we're gonna see who comes out on top, and also we're gonna see who's gonna win the Magic Johnson MVP.
Yeah, we'll see that.
So this concludes our episode of Cash Sports. Please do us a favor, like and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to, please show some love and comment under the video also. Thank you and have a good time.